Now the 5 forecast, sunny and 36 today, tomorrow sunny and 34, much the same Saturday, 33, mostly sunny and 30 on Sunday, then staying fine on Monday and Tuesday with tops of 30 and 34. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Peter Godfrey on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
We're early, just coming up to 5 minutes past 5. Temperature 23 degrees, that's about the lowest we've been overnight, but a bit of a warm one on the way. Let's take a look at how things are over in New Zealand. Selwyn Manning joining us, editor of EveningReport.nz. How are you, Selwyn?
Yeah, not too bad, Peter. Just doing the old Manning weather forecast out the window here with the finger out.
Wet the finger, and what's happening in Auckland?
It's a nice blue sky morning for everybody this morning. It's looking pretty great, actually. It's going to be around about a high of 25, 26 degrees. And overnight low, it's getting a little bit, starting to feel like it's getting toward that Easter kind of period of time. So overnight low of 15 degrees. And that'd be about right, Peter. It's quite pleasant during the day, but a little bit, you want to kind of a little bit of warmth during the night, perhaps.
Yeah, well, we can spare some. We've got plenty to go around at the moment.
Yeah. So you're heading for a high of what is it?
36.
Oh, that's hanging on up there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and then only cooling off by a couple of degrees over the next week or so. So, it's a bit warm. So if you're needing a little bit more warmth, feel free. We'll send you some.
Yeah, I'm sure a bit of it will seep across the Tasman, and that will satisfy a few, no doubt. But quite often, by the time it soaks up all the water and moisture from the Tasman Sea as your warm weather comes across, it picks up a lot of rain cloud.
Yeah.
But the West Coast gets dumped with a lot of that, apparent.
Oh, well, enjoy yours. What do you got? 26 today. That'll be nice.
25, 26.
25, 26. Beautiful. Enjoy it.
Quite nice. And most of the North Island is very much settled in that way too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at a few things happening over there. What are some of the headlines making some of the news outlets over there?
Yeah, New Zealand Herald is leading with, it's a bit of a strange story here, this one, but a woman was given $10,000 in one of those Give a Little campaigns. She had her house burnt down in Christchurch, and that's what the Give a Little public plea was. And then a few days later, 2 days later actually, she was caught in a police chase and ended up crashing the car, and she's in court facing those alleged charges at the moment. With a total of around $70,000 that she wound up. So she got $10,000 for a burnt-down house, and then, it seems like what the Herald is trying to say is that she allegedly, at this stage, $70,000 worth of damage. So there you go. So, but then it's into some other stuff that's more local, as the city where it originates from, this newspaper, and it's super cheap Auckland apartments, it says, Peter, and that's $375,000 for Auckland apartments here, and it's remember, this is a city where the average house price is over $1 million.
$1 million, so it does sound cheap in comparison.
Yeah. Cheap in comparison. Anything under $500,000 is considered an absolute bargain. You've got to really scratch your head and say, why is it this cheap? But then that also it's talking down here also about the cricket win last night, and we'll give a bit of a sketch on what happened there. It's good news for the Kiwis and keeping that 5-match one-day international alive against South Africa. But we can talk about that. And if we go across to Fairfax's stuff.co.nz website, Peter, there's it's leading actually with that with the cricket win there that we'll talk about, and then it says from rental to ruin. Its sub-headline here is their guest gave references and paid for a week's holiday, but now the landlord's left with a burnt-out shell. So it sounds like some rental tenants from hell.
The tenants from hell, yeah.
And we go across to Radio New Zealand. Quite a different feel on Radio New Zealand. It's saying call to prosecute guards over tied-down inmates. Now, this is an ongoing inquiry into what is happening inside our prisons here in New Zealand. And a little bit like what you guys, late last year, you were getting a lot of these kind of exposures coming through too, weren't you? So the sub-headline here, to give a bit of clarification to this, Radio New Zealand says, a prison counsellor wants the guards who restrained mentally ill prisoners for days at a time to be charged with torture.
Okay.
So that's It's obviously quite a debate that has formed on radio in New Zealand over the morning.
Okay, yeah, we had something up in the Northern Territory, particularly with one young person, particularly that was restrained. A whole lot of issues around that. Anyway, so all of that on the local press over there. I did see a great story on Stuff early in the week that's then been making a lot of the other news sites, well, here and around the world. Fantastic story. A bloke down in South Canterbury who's a farmer was looking for a stockman, and he placed an ad for it. A brilliantly worded ad. Must be a non-smoker. Wear his hat with the peak to the front and be capable of wearing his pants around his arse, not his knees. Also needs to be able to divorce himself from his phone for more than 2 hours at a time. This may turn into a permanent job.
It all sounds very fair, doesn't it, Peter?
It does indeed.
And you can imagine the guy writing out that advert with a bit of a straw sticking out the corner of his mouth.
Oh, yeah, a bit of a wild foot rot flat look to him, perhaps.
his hat well placed on his head, perhaps, and, his farming boots out there with a bit of a shine on them, maybe.
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether we ended up getting this the right person for the job, but anyway, he's got a lot of interest.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he kind of just sounds like the guy describing it's kind of that Southland or South Canterbury kind of farmer guy. Our new Prime Minister, Bill English, isn't from too far away from there, a little bit further south, but I was saying to you just off air, Peter, how Bill English, who was showing his farming skills only last week, and he was shearing his sheep in a sheep shearing competition, and he didn't do too bad.
He did all right, did he? There you go.
He did all right.
Gee, that's going to perpetuate that myth about Kiwis and sheep.
His reputation is that before he went into politics many years ago, he was a treasury boffin, but he's obviously showing people, hey, hang on a minute, I grew up on a Southland farm.
Well done. Good connecting with the masses.
Yes.
There we go. Well, let's get on to some politics stuff. A bit of a generational shift signalled with your Labor Party. What's happened there?
Yeah, remember it's election year here, Peter, and there's been a lot of pressure on the Labor Party to get rid of a lot of the MPs that were in previous governments and come up with a whole new generation of new people here. And, the leader, Andrew Little, has been pushed, many would say, into promoting Jacinda Ardern to deputy leader, and this happened yesterday. And what happened was, Peter, last weekend there was a by-election in Mount Albert here in Auckland, and that's the electorate that the former Prime Minister Helen Clark once held. Then it was held by David Shearer, who was the leader of the Labor Party for a time, and he vacated politics. And Jacinda Ardern, who's been on the party list, and is a very prominent MP around the country and is certainly popular in Auckland, she stood for this. National thought to itself, the Nationals over here looked at that particular by-election and thought, oh, no, we're not going to win that, so we're not going to even stand a candidate. So there was no National Party representation there at all. The Green Party thought, well, we're in a memorandum of understanding, kind of a prenuptial, if you like, with the Labor Party, but we will put a candidate in there, and they put Julianne Genter, who's a bit of a high flyer for certain in the Green Party. But Jacinda Ardern, she flew through. She got 77% of those who voted for her.
Gee.
So huge. So the narrative, Jacinda's around about 33 years of age, has been working those social portfolios in opposition for most of her political career. Prior to that, she worked in the office of the Prime Minister, Helen Clark, the former Prime Minister Helen Clark, and before that she was working in the office of the prominent politician, former Trade Minister, former Foreign Affairs Minister here, and is now Mayor of Auckland, Phil Goff. Now, so she's had a career of politics right through there. She wasn't pushing publicly to actually push the former deputy leader of the Labor Party, Anna King, out of the position. Anna King was giving strong signals right up until yesterday that she was digging her toes and she wasn't going to get pushed out or leveraged out of her place. Anna King was health minister in the Helen Clark government for quite a time and had various other ministerial roles, and she's been in politics since the 1980s. She's still a very, very active and vocal MP, of course. But, Andrew Little was being very silent on this. His comments were, okay, we know that we need, this is him speaking about the Labor Party, is saying, we know the Labor Party needs an Auckland MP right up there in the leadership team to win Auckland. We know that, but there's no vacancy. We're not going to have any movement at this stage in the game in an election year. But then yesterday, Peter, it seemed like many are saying sense prevailed, and Annette King stood down from the deputy leader position. Jacinda Ardern accepted very gracefully after caucus voted her into that position, and it looks like they're signalling the beginnings of cementing a leadership team with a whole new kind of look. Now, they're leaving it a bit late, and of course they've been in opposition since 2008 as the Labour Party here, but it's certainly starting to ratchet up into being a more interesting election, and certainly the Nationals will know this, that with John Key off the patch, it's more an election year of issues as opposed to popularity.
Right, okay.
But having said that, Jacinda Ardern has both policy and popularity. On the side,
okay.
So it will be interesting.
Yeah. Could it? So you're saying signalling a generational shift. So could there be others, other sort of older, long-standing members moving out for younger ones?
Yes, I mean, that's the call. I mean, there's some that are just sitting there. They haven't been doing anything for a long time, and Labor has been loath to publicly kind of encourage these people to get out of the road. Whatever it's doing inside is not being effective, Peter, and there are some there that have been there from the 80s. I mean, when you start to actually look at that, well, they've had a shot. They've had their time of shaping New Zealand. It's certainly things have changed, and it's time for them to move on. But that message, there's a number of them still very good at turning over and getting going new coming in, new candidates of note coming in, and that's one of its recipes to its successes over the last decade. But then there are others like Peter Dunn. He was actually around when David Lange was Prime Minister.
Oh, good grief.
And he most recently, the Nationals, he seems to dance in the middle with Peter Dunn. You know, if late when Helen Clark was in, well, Peter Dunn snivelled across and became a cabinet, or not, he was a minister, but outside of cabinet, and that one, and then National wins, and he kind of sides up to them, and he becomes revenue minister for a time, and, you know, those kind of things, and he's quite satisfied with that, internal affairs, and then he kind of falls out of favour a bit, but still hangs on, and he's still around. He's fighting for this next election. But Labour's put up the former head of the police union, or police association, a guy called Greg O'Connor, and he'll be taking him on, and the feeling is that it may go Greg O'Connor's way. So we'll see. We'll see.
Interesting year, an election year. All right, so we'll just have a quick break. Plenty more we'll talk about happening in your part of the world. Be right back with you in a moment. It is 17 after 5. Selwyn Manning is our guest, editor of EveningReport.nz.
G'day, Eddie Betts here from the Adelaide Crows. Join me every week exclusively on the 5AA Breakfast Show.
Got it over to Ben, jams it on the left boot.
I'll give you all the news on what's happening around the club and in that Eddie Betts pocket.
He's got a banana that just went straight through the middle.
That's funny, mate. I like that.
Thanks to Fairmont Homes, built for life. Visit a display village today.
Only on $13.95 Adelaide's 5AA.
Protect your loved ones with a Care Alert Smart Dialer with no monitoring fees and able to dial 000 if there's an emergency at home. It's the most popular alert system in Australia. How's this for a deal? A Care Alert Smart Dialer Plus, a free key-safe lock and blood pressure monitor, all for just $299 delivered. That's over $120 worth of extras, absolutely free. Hurry, only while stocks last. Visit carealert.com.au. That's carealert.com.au.
The doors are now open on our newest 99 bike store located on Marion Road, Marion. Sign up to Club 99 and join over 250,000 members across Australia who enjoy exclusive discounts on everything in cycling. Only $5 for all life races right now. Club 99. 20% off store-wide at 99 Bikes Marion's grand opening sale. Today's the day to head to 99 Bikes Marion Road, Marion and get minimum 20% off all your biking needs. 99 Bikes.
Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's complicated. And yes, it can take time. Arranging aged care for your parents can be all these things, but it can also be easier. Synexus are the experts in aged care placement. Synexus will do all the heavy lifting for you, take care of complicated paperwork, liaise with only suitable nursing homes, and they'll fast-track the whole process. Synexus, leading you through aged care. Google Leading You Through Aged Care for more on Synexus.
If you travel a lot for work, you know how hard it is to find a good bed. One that's comfy and clean, but still close to your car. One that's private, but not lonely. One that's close to the shops and not far from the pub. A bed that knows you've been at work all day. Close to nature, with a range of accommodation and all kinds of activities, Discovery Parks have a bed that's perfect for you. Book now at discoveryholidayparks.com.au. Terms and conditions apply, subject to availability.
RAA isn't just famous for insurance. RAA is also famous for providing peace of mind on the road and in your home. Our members will tell you that. And that's the RAA difference. You're never a customer, you're always a member. RAA is a true one-stop shop and can help you with road service, car and home insurance, home or personal security, even mobility scooters, everything. And another thing, when you insure with RAA, you're protected by a local company who knows South Australia better than anyone. It pays to have everything in the one place, especially with member discounts and benefits. So to find out more, visit raa.com.au.
Peter Godfrey, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
And in fact, we're talking about things across the ditch in New Zealand. Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz with us. Now, Selwyn, you got something happening, Friday this week that, could it be something that is going to be even bigger than sport, bigger than politics, bigger than anything else that could happen in New Zealand?
Yes, it certainly will be, Peter, and it'll be bigger by number than any result from the cricket. When you look overseas, there's an anticipation of this Lorde album for a number of years, really. It's been 3 years since her big splash with her first album, Pure Heroine, and of course it ran the single Royals, of course, which became an international success, and then there were other ones called Tennis Court and another one called Team, which were big hits for her too off that album. Now, so it's been well anticipated that there's an album in the making, and certainly in recent weeks, even last week, was saying on your program, Peter, that there was an expectation that there's one coming out very soon. Well, it certainly is. On Friday, around 8 a.m. New Zealand time, Lorde herself has put out via Twitter that there's going to be her new album out there. Now, last night there was quite a flurry of activity around Auckland in particular after Lorde, who has 4.5 million followers on her Twitter account.
Wow.
We were talking politics earlier on, talk about political popularity. That comes nowhere near it, does it?
No, that's right, yeah.
Nowhere near it. 4.5 million people following this woman's, every word. And she put out a Twitter, and it basically was saying, here's a map. We've got my album being released in New York on Thursday, or it'd be Thursday New York time, Friday New Zealand time, simultaneously at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. But if you want a bit of see what it's about, here's a map with 3 locations on it. And there's, looked at the map, there was one Merrill Drive, Queen Street corner, right in the heart of the CBD. Another one just not too far from there on the Karangahape Road, Ponsonby Road corner. For those that know Auckland, those will be significant landmarks. There was a mark on the map there. Another one down almost near the Auckland Harbour Bridge, Peter. So down near the water there. And that one was a little bit more obscure. And it was marked on the map too. So people just flooded, really quickly. It was like some sort of people storm arrived.
Yeah.
And what was there was like an airy green kind of thing that was going on. One car at one of the locations was lit up with this airy green colour, kind of like, when computers first came out, and
the green colour of the screen.
The Matrix movie.
Yes,
Kind of that kind of colour green. And not too much more apart from some lyrics, perhaps, that were presented onto a wall there at one of the locations, and there's a bit of a music loop, and I think you might have a little.
Got a little bit. It's a very short snippet. It's called Green Light, obviously, with the colour used. So here's that little teaser of the music. And it ends that abruptly.
There you go. You're not going to get much more until Friday, by the look.
No, okay.
But, the big deal here is that sounds quite a boppy little kind of tune to it. So it'll be interesting to see what the whole album is like.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah.
It seems like people are speculating that this particular single that is going to be released as well. Yeah, it may even be released prior to Friday. It might be today.
Okay.
What happened? And that is supposedly called Green Light.
Yeah.
Now, we're making a big deal of this because this woman has done some remarkable things, more than perhaps even, Split Ends and Crowded House and others in the past.
Well, she's
really
more international, I guess, than those artists, isn't she?
Very much so. And she's certainly broken into the US and the UK market with her songs. And, they're catchy tunes. And they're remarkable kind of... over here, people have seen her lyrics as being quite remarkable in that she's really caught into the mood and feeling of her generation.
Yeah.
And she indicated only about a month ago that, in writing this album, she's put a lot into it, obviously, and that she says she's in her 20s, she's just turned 20, so it's kind of different. And it was a little bit of a hint that perhaps that, she's going to carry the mood and themes of her music along with her age on her chronology. But it'll be an interesting one from that point of view. We'll see whether or not it stacks up.
Yeah, indeed.
As a lot of people say.
Look forward to it. You'll be queuing up to get one of the first copies, Selwyn?
You don't have to queue up these days, do you?
Well, no, that's true. Just get onto iTunes.
I'm trying to think where a record store and all of that. I think there's one in the city there still, and certainly there's no CD shops around there.
No, same here. Yeah, hard to find them.
Sorry, Peter. With the thing that she did with her last album, is I'm sure it wasn't that popular with her marketers and things, but it certainly worked for her. Is she actually put a lot of it out free of charge for her fans?
All right, okay.
And on the various platforms, and they were able to listen to it. So yeah, maybe she's doing the same here. We'll have to wait and see.
Wait till Friday morning. On to cricket now. A bit of a nail biter. One day international against South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly the series is right alive. We were absolutely well done by the South Africans earlier in the week, Peter. They really did us over as far as showing their strength and on the cricket field. This is one-day international, of course, and there's 5 matches to this one, which is quite cool to have 5 matches in a one-day international. And so New Zealand, it was beaten in the first one by South Africa decidedly. The second game, New Zealand came back and beat South Africa. Then South Africa, like I was saying just earlier this week, it really did us over. And then last night, it was a blinder of a game by the Kiwis. We came through and beat South Africa by 7 wickets.
Well.
And our star player was Martin Guptill. Those who follow cricket know his name. And he had a top score of 180 not out. So there you go. In a one-day international, that's pretty good.
Not bad. Well done. And when's the decider, the 5th match?
Yeah, that's on Saturday at Eden Park in Auckland, so it'll be like a cauldron. This weather keeps up, it'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Excellent. Take your Walkman with the new Lorde album to listen to between overs, and you'll be set.
They might even be playing it, in between the overs or something.
You never know. All right, Selwyn, thank you, mate. Have a great week, and we'll find out more about what's happening in your part of the world next week with you.
Okay, Peter.
All the best. Thank you, Selwyn. Selwyn Manning in Auckland. Head to EveningReport.nz to find out a whole lot more. 28 minutes past 5. Anne Stone along in just a moment with all the latest 5AA news, sport and weather, and then more of your calls on 822 300 00.
There's a lot more to property investment than simply buying somewhere to rent out. If you want to secure your financial future through investing in property, Susanna Toop has some tips to help you achieve the best result.
Start by talking to your mortgage broker. Knowing how much you can borrow determines your next step, and it will help narrow down your search of which suburbs to look at. Also, ask yourself what you want to achieve. A long-term investment with capital growth is quite different to a cash flow positive option. It will also help shape the type of tenants you're looking for. For example, city apartments and family homes will appeal to a different clientele. And the phrase location, location, location is so true. Having somewhere close to schools, amenities and public transport will broaden your market. Finally, excellent marketing is so important. You want your potential tenants to fall in love with your property.
For more tips on getting better results through property investment, visit toop.com.au.
When it comes to industrial fans, come to Spitwater. We have a huge range of industrial fans for just about any application. Our industrial fans are noise-friendly and they come with a 3-year warranty. From wall-mounted and pedestal fans to floor fans and misting kits. For the workplace or outdoor entertaining at home. If you have to move some serious air, cooling, ventilation or drying, get an industrial strength fan from Spitwater. Spitwater, that's what it does. Spitwater.com.au.
Phil Hoffman Travel and Princess Cruises have an amazing cruise for you. Depart from your doorstep to the exotic east. Visit some of the most popular cities in Asia over 13 nights, including Margaret River, Fremantle, Bali, Kuala Lumpur, and finish your cruise in Singapore. Hosted by Phil Hoffman Travel, this cruise on board the Golden Princess departs Adelaide 17th of March 2018 from only $1,739 per person. This cruise will sell out. Don't miss the boat. pht.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 36 today. It's 5:30. I'm Anne Stone. Another motorcyclist has died on our roads. A 23-year-old man from Blair Athol was killed after his bike hit a parked car on Seaview Road in Henley Beach around 10 last night. Senior Sergeant Sheldon Lavelle from Major Crime says it's believed speeding was a factor.
It's a reminder for all motorists to just obey the speed limit. The actual speed that he was going, we're still to determine that. But it's clear to the investigators at this early stage that he was exceeding the 40 km/h speed limit.
And earlier yesterday, a 22-year-old Modbury Heights man was killed when his bike slammed into a Stobie pole at Ridgehaven. 4 cars have been torched at a property at Seaford overnight. They went up in flames in a carport around 3 a.m. No one was injured and the fire is being treated as suspicious. The bodies of 3 people have been discovered following a suspicious fire in a factory in Melbourne. Emergency services were called to the blaze at Footscray late last night following reports of explosions. The bodies of 3 people were found inside a room at the